Hi, I'm Mary Jo. I have been a nurse for 51 years. I have lost over 100 pounds as a postmenopausal woman and, most importantly, reversed chronic disease in my life. This is a discussion, once again, centered around nitric oxide, and I call it simply Part 2. Kind of as a refresher of the last conversation about nitric oxide, there are two pathways the body has to creating it. One is by eating primarily greens. Now, there are other foods that contain nitrates. Greens contain the most. I even believe fruit contains some. But anyway, greens contain the most. So you chew the greens and they mix with the saliva, and with that saliva is part of your microbiome. Yes, there are bacteria in your mouth. Sorry, I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the way it is, and you want them there. And when they're symbiotic and they're working with you, then the action of those bacteria in your mouth plus the action of HCl, hydrochloric acid, in your stomach combined together allow the nitrate in the food to be created and to become nitric oxide. This can be absorbed into your bloodstream, go wherever your body needs for nitric oxide to provide quality control assurance, if you will. Now, in order for this to occur, you want to avoid fluoride. So you really don't want toothpaste with fluoride in it because fluoride kills the bacteria in your mouth. Wow. Drinking water. Now that's a little bit harder for some people because drinking a lot of bottled water doesn't necessarily mean that it's had the correct purification system, so it doesn't have fluoride in it. And how many microplastics are you consuming? So that may not be your best option. Now, there is a filter that stands on a counter, which I think you fill with water. It has at least two filters in it, and I believe it's called Berkey. I know it's on Amazon. Hey, what's not on Amazon, right? And there are a variety of different price ranges. I saw a really nice one for $300, but I saw them for less money than that, just so you know. Also, I think one of the best filtration systems for the home and in my kitchen, I now have reverse osmosis, and that's going to get rid of practically all the contaminants that come through to your water, including the fluoride. So I am loving that. There's also another purification system referred to as Cangene, which provides alkaline water. And you know, if you're a meat eater, which produces a significant acid load to your body, it might be worth your while. Now, in my opinion, for myself, I didn't want to put it in the kitchen. It cost $4,000, and my reverse osmosis cost $800. So I think you can get reverse osmosis since some places it can be $1,000, $800 to $1,000. I think is a fairly appropriate figure to identify, but there might be better deals wherever you live. But it gets rid of the fluoride. Now, the Kangen gets rid of the fluoride, but it also makes a very alkaline type of water, and you need to drink it relatively soon after you pull it off the tap, which is probably what most people would do. There's also some delivery services, whether it's reverse osmosis or the Cajun, that will bring you this water to your home and has some sort of a system that you can utilize in order to extract the water from the big bottles. Anyway, my problem with the Cajun system is that the alkaline material tends to fall out into all my coffee pots and teapots, and I'm not real thrilled with that, but it's probably because I don't have it in the kitchen. Now, another thing about it is it's a highly alkaline product, which for a lot of Americans would really help because most of the nation's sick people are more acidic. So it might help diminish that acid load. it might help prevent bacterial abnormal or inappropriate bacterial growth to occur. However, I eat a very plant-based diet, and as a result, let me stipulate a high nutrient plant-based diet. So it's not junk food veganism, which you can eat and call and say you're not eating animals, whatever you want to do with that. But I believe I eat a very alkaline diet, and so I think reverse osmosis, which is like $1,000 to the $4,000 for the Can-Gene, to me was an appropriate choice, but not necessarily for everybody else. All right, so there you go. Anything you can do that's within your family's budget to prevent ingesting the fluoride will help protect the flora of your mouth. Antibiotics is obviously another thing that would degrade all the good guys as well as the bad guys. Now, with antibiotics, the more you get into appropriate nutrition, appropriate sleep, and activity, the less likely you are to have to worry about infections. I wish I could convince people that if you thought, played, and ate correctly, you really wouldn't have much to worry about. The time in the last year that I actually got sick, which hasn't happened for years, but did in the last year, was when I didn't sleep for 3 nights because I was worrying about things that I could not change and had no control over, which is really not smart. Luckily, I finally stopped that. I got well, and I just love dancing through life once yet again. Perhaps it helped make me consider how lucky I am and how important it is to take really good care of yourself. All right, so much for that. Please don't use antiseptic mouthwash. Gosh, now I sound like I'm telling you what to do. I don't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. But it will destroy the bacteria in your mouth. Antibiotics should be used judiciously and only if absolutely necessary, and never for viral infections. If some of these things have not happened the way you now would have liked them to be, just really eat a healthy diet full of lots of greens so you can get the symbiotic bacteria back. Another problem is antacids, because it would get rid of the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So you say, well, what am I going to do about my indigestion? And my thought is several-fold. Number one, really look at what you're eating. And because real whole food designed to nurture and support the human body does not make you sick. The one thing that I can have a problem with is overeating. Particularly, I think this is finally, I'm getting a handle on it, but particularly in the evening. Even eating really good nutritional food and way too much of it, because you're a food addict like I am, can cause you to feel very uncomfortable in the evening. But you don't want to use antacids. Acid in the stomach is so important, not only for digestion, but also it allows you to absorb minerals such as calcium and iron. Talk about if you can't do that, you could develop osteoporosis. You're going to develop anemia and extreme fatigue. So that doesn't sound good. Also, if you neutralize stomach acid, then you don't have the acidic environment for the nitric oxide to be produced. And that could be definitely detrimental to your health as you get old. Okay, I wanted to also identify that vegetables have nitrates in them, and they go through this path that I have described perhaps a little too lengthily and create nitric oxide. But there are meat products that also have nitrites in them. And you might say, okay, Mary Jo, I like that bacon. And I even see nitrite on the label. So what's the problem? Well, good question. The problem is all meat products contain chemicals called amides and amines. Now, the nitrite, whether it's intrinsic to the food or part of a preservative that you ingest in and of itself, is not harmful. But in meat products, the nitrite combines with the amides and the amines, and it produces either nitrosamide or nitrosamine. These are reactive and carcinogenic chemicals. Yes, they lead to the development of cancer after a period of time. So nobody really needs that kind of thing. Dr. Michael Greger has written some very fun books that I enjoy. And this one, everybody my age, wow, you're gonna perk up on this one. How Not to Age. Gosh, I wish I would have read this 40 years ago. Of course, I don't know that Michael would have been old enough to write the book back then, but I find it a fascinating material in this book. He does discuss a couple of studies where the participants ate a fairly hearty green vegetable and a very clean chicken source. And what they found out was that even with this combination, number one, the nitrites, the nitrate that had turned into nitrites from the vegetables, were also in the cauldron with the amines and amides. And yes, there was the production of nitrosamines. However, due to the vegetables, which I think they ate a significant quantity, there is also ITCs, which produce an extreme wonderful antioxidant response in the body, and vitamin C. And the result of these antioxidants diminished the capability of nitrosamines to be created. But they were still there in the bloodstream, and they were still carcinogenic, even though there was a lesser quantity. So you just might want to think about that when you're trying to, or at least if you are going to eat some form of animal product, you might want to diminish the amount and eat just tons of vegetables with it to help counter what negative effects it could have on your body. One thing I should have mentioned in the prior video, but let me say it here. I know I've stated that you eat the green vegetables and you want to really chew them. You want to chew them to a liquid. And that first slows you down and helps you really enjoy your food. It also provides the bacteria in your mouth plenty of time to react with the nitrate to produce the nitrite that's now going to your stomach and turn into nitric oxide. Now, there's a caveat here. I have found that a lot of people who are striving to put more vegetables and fruit into their diet, they maybe haven't made a choice that they want to be totally plant-based, if you will, but they know that it's healthy. They know their doctors say eat more vegetables, eat more fruit, so they're wanting to find a mechanism to incorporate that into their diet. And a lot of people have found that smoothies that I talked about a few videos ago was a very helpful way, and they included lots of greens, but the sweetness of the fruit they included just made it very palatable. And it did have a series of positive impact. I mean, you're still going to get tons of ITCs and antioxidants from this concoction. So there is a lot of good in it. But there is a problem because you're not chewing or allowing the greens to sit in your mouth for a little bit of time. So there is less capability of the bacteria to work on the nitrate to produce nitrite. So you might want to think about, as you incorporate more vegetables into your lifestyle, that it's a really good idea to have a significant quantity of vegetables that you're going to chew, and that will encourage more nitric oxide to be produced. Smoothies are still good, but they can diminish that capability of the body. Just wanted you to know. So anyway, that's it for nitric oxide part 2. You want to protect the bacteria of your mouth. No fluoride, no antiseptic mouthwash, and hopefully little to no antibiotics, and possibly a lot of green vegetables in your future. Also, there are other ways to deal with indigestion than that of antacids. Don't you just love it when all of a sudden your mind goes blank? Antacids. And there's even videos on different ways to assist diminishing the accumulated gas if it happens occasionally to you. Really concentrate on eating 3 to 4 hours before you lay down for the night. That seems to help a lot, and I have had to really slow down so I can listen to my body, because I used to never be full. I used to be hungry 24/7. Now it takes a moment or two after, even when I eat slowly, which probably means I need to eat more slowly. You know, nurses never get to eat slowly, so I mean, this is really learning for me, that it takes a while before I get that signal that says stop eating. But this way of eating is wonderful, because I do get a stop. I do get to a point where I'm saying, I don't want to eat. This is not what I want to do. I want to go take a walk. I want to go find some grandkids to play with. I want to do anything but just sit here. And that is just a wonderful feeling. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I hope there's something in this conversation, it wasn't too repetitive, that would be helpful for you. Because you know, this is all about you. Because you are so important to the rest of us. You are a very special person, and you are very worthy of taking the time to care for you. With great love and appreciation in my heart for all of you out there listening to this channel, I thank you so much for your time, and have a wonderful, beautiful, sparkling day. And goodbye for now from Nurse Mary Jo.